Hello, everybody. In accordance with Section 29-1 of the Code of the Borough of Raritan, there shall be a 5-minute time limit per speaker. Please direct all questions or comments to the mayor. Impertinent, specious, or personal remarks are inappropriate, and anyone who cannot follow the common rules of courtesy or who becomes boisterous may be asked to leave the meeting room. If reading from a prepared statement, please provide a written copy and an email a copy to the Borough Clerk's office after making your comment. Anybody like to make a comment during open comments? Seeing no one, we will move along. Item number 1, Sewage Authority representatives are here for the Interceptor project. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Ronald Anastasio. I'm the Executive Director of the Somerset Raritan Valley Sewage Authority, and we're here tonight to give you a short presentation, which is an update about a project that we've been working on for a couple of years now. About 2 years ago, I met with the Borough Administrator and Engineer to discuss with them an issue that we were having regarding the conveyance of sewage in the interceptor and how it's tied to the different towns. What we're here tonight to talk to you about is that problem and our solution for the problem. We have a short presentation. We're going to distribute some handouts, and our engineer, James Cosgrove, is going to take you through that. I have a series of reports that will be referenced in the presentation. This is a letter addressed to the mayor, but I'm going to leave it with you, Dan.
Thank
You can pass that along, and I'm sure Sam will get that at some point. And I'm going to hand this over to Jim.
Thank you.
Good evening. I should be able to get this done in about 3 hours. 15 minutes is what I'm going to shoot for. I'm going to go through some of the slides quickly, but there were a few slides I thought about deleting out altogether, but I thought you may want them for reference for the future, so I just left them in there, but I won't spend a lot of time on it. So what I want to talk to you about today is very quickly the problem that we face that Ron just alluded to, a sanitary sewer overflow that's occurring in Somerville Borough because of their location within SRVSA's interceptor system. Quickly describe what that problem is, talk about the study that we did to try to identify, first be able to better understand what the problem was, and then understand the solutions to address the problem. And then talk about next steps and a quick discussion about infiltration and inflow in Raritan Borough. So if you turn the page of my handout onto page 2, you'll see the top slide shows SRVSA's service area. The dashed line along the Raritan River shows you where SRVSA's interceptor is. And you can see Raritan, if you look very carefully, you can see Raritan Borough highlighted there. And you can see that Raritan discharges into SRVSA's interceptor up near the left side, or the most upstream side of SRVSA's interceptor. Wastewater flows from left to right on the page, basically. So from west to east. SRVSA's treatment plant is shown with a star, and the location of the overflow is shown where you see the red circle on that map. So what's the problem? During wet weather conditions, extreme wet weather conditions, very substantial storms, SRVSA's interceptor becomes surcharged. So all the runoff from all the member municipalities within SRVSA's system ends up in much of it ends up in the sanitary sewer system and overloads the interceptor. During those times, because Somerville is so low relative to the interceptor, it can't drive its wastewater in. You have a lot of pressure in the interceptor, you can't get the water in. Now, there are other municipalities, Bridgewater is a great example, that's much higher relative to the interceptor. So even though they discharge at a very similar location in the interceptor, they're at a much higher elevation so they can drive the water in. That's really the issue. So what we set out to do is one, understand where the overflows were occurring in Somerville, and then how to resolve the problem and stop these overflows from occurring. If you turn the page to page 3, you'll see at the top is a picture of a park in Somerville. That's raw sewage you see ponded in that park. That park has been closed for several years now because of these overflows. And the good news is Somerville has sealed the manholes in that park, so those manholes are not overflowing anymore. But as they seal manholes, they started sealing manholes down near the Raritan River, and they went up to the park. They keep driving the overflow further upstream. They can't seal manholes any further upstream because they're going to end up with, if they did that, they would end up with the potential of having sewage overflowing in the basements. So they've sealed as far up as they can without risking the community. The bottom, you see a slide that shows an aerial photograph. Along the bottom, you see SRVSA's interceptor in yellow, the yellow dashed line. And then in blue is the portion of the Somerville line where we have this overflow problem. That's the connection between Somerville and the interceptor. And you see I highlighted it with a red circle. Well, there are actually 2 red circles on here, but the upper one, the one on the top of the slide, is where the present overflow location is. So there's a railroad line that crosses Peters Brook at that location. The overflow is basically going right into Peters Brook when it occurs. You'll see a circle down at the bottom that says proposed future overflow location, temporary overflow location. DEP asked us to, while we're working on a permanent solution, to force the overflow downstream directly to the Raritan River where there's more dilution, rather than having it overflow in Somerville and Peters Brook. So SRVSA is about to put in a temporary overflow location so that when an overflow occurs, it will more likely go in that location than more upstream.
What's the location of it?
It's right at the Raritan River.
Where? Somerville, right?
Just downstream of Peters Brook.
So it'll be in Somerville?
It will actually be in Bridgewater.
Bridgewater.
So that's a recommendation by DEP to dump into the...
It's more than a recommendation, it was a requirement. Okay, I'm not going to go into a lot of details on the sampling program that you see on the top of page 4, but we had a very extensive sampling program, both in terms of flow metering to understand what flow we had where in the system under various conditions. We had a water quality sampling program. We needed to understand what the impact of this overflow was on stream water quality. We also had to understand what the quality of the overflow itself was, because we knew one of the alternatives might be to treat that overflow. So we had to know what we were going to have to treat if we were going to study that. So we looked at both flow conditions and water quality conditions.
We talked about treating. Now, is the water being treated currently at the Peters Brook overflow?
No.
And it's not overflowing?
It is just overflowing at that location.
So all sewage is going directly into the Raritan River?
Yeah,
No.
to Peters
Or
Brook.
they want to go to the river. There's more water flow.
But just emphasize, this is only in rare
Yes, yes.
occasions.
When this is occurring, we're talking about more than 2 inches of rain has likely occurred. Stream flows are extremely high. Flooding.
Talking brown water running in the river.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
We're talking brown water in the Raritan River.
Yes. You can't, I mean, I wasn't going to go into it, but I will say that from the sampling that we did, you can see the signature of the overflow in Peters Brook. You can measure higher bacteria levels in Peters Brook as a result of the overflow. When you get to the Raritan, you can't tell the difference between upstream and downstream. There's a bacteria upstream, there's bacteria downstream, but they're not statistically different. So what did we find with the sampling program? What we found is, first we wanted to understand how often this has happened. And it happened 4 times in the year, roughly the year that we were sampling. That happened to be, we had a lot of large storms that year. So from our perspective, it was good that we had 4 overflow events so that we could study it. Obviously, it's not good that we had poor overflow events, but while we were studying it, it was nice to be able to see what was going on. What we found is that overflows are occurring both with and without flooding. We didn't know if you needed stream flooding before the overflow would actually occur. We thought the stream flooding might be causing conditions that were ending up with the overflow. That's not the case. We saw overflows with flooding. We saw overflows without flooding. But the stream flooding impacts the location of the overflow. There are times where the stream at that overflow location that was circled in red on that map, the elevation of the stream was higher than that manhole. So the water didn't come out there, it came out further upstream. So depending on whether you have flooding or not, will affect where the overflows occur. As I mentioned before, Peters Brook water quality was impacted by the overflow, but you couldn't see that signature in the Raritan Borough itself. The other thing is we studied the interceptor itself, SRVSA's interceptor itself, and that was found to be very tight. There was one leak that they're working on right now, but minor relative to the kinds of flows that we're talking about here. So we know these big increases in flows into the interceptor are coming from the municipal system, not the interceptor line itself.
We repaired that leak that we could.
Okay. I'm behind. We also developed a hydraulic model of the sewer system that was used as a tool to help us evaluate different alternatives. And then the alternatives that we looked at, there were 5 of them. No action. Didn't take long to study that. We can't allow raw sewage to continue to be discharged to the environment. What we called our pump and treat option, what it basically meant was install a pump station near the location of the overflow so that you could pump that wastewater directly to SRVSA's existing wastewater treatment. We looked at I&I reduction, finding a way to reduce inflow and infiltration in all the municipal systems such that these overflows would occur. We looked at storage, building a large storage tank or multiple storage tanks such that when you got these peak flows and wastewater from Somerville couldn't get into the system, we'd fill up a tank during those times and then bleed it out slowly. Seems like a great idea until you see the size of the tank. It's just an absolute monster. So that wouldn't work too well. And then finally, building an auxiliary treatment facility. This turned out to be our recommended alternative and one which DEP has agreed with very recently, which is build an auxiliary treatment plant near the overflow. And during conditions when the overflow would occur, we would be able to turn on that treatment plant, treat the wastewater coming from Somerville, and then discharge it directly to the Raritan Borough. That turned out to be the least expensive alternative, and also the one that I thought was the best, because it comes as close to guaranteeing no overflow as you can get compared to the other alternatives. Not often you have a selected alternative or a preferred alternative that happens to be the most economic. I don't remember that ever happening. So it was an easy alternative to recommend. You'll see on the next page, top of page 6, the different costs that we estimated for the different alternatives. And you'll see the storm control treatment facility, that auxiliary treatment facility, is by far the least costly alternative, and the one that maximizes our chance of stopping the overflow and stopping it quickly.
And that system, that will be put in those 2 locations, or one of the 2 locations?
Actually, it would be put just downstream of the park, so downstream of where the overflows are occurring. So what we will be able to do with this alternative, actually if you flip to the top of page 7, if you look on the little schematic there, you'll see the line. You remember that blue pipe coming down from north to south on that aerial photo I showed you? That's that line you see on the left side of the schematic. We'll actually have a valve in that line, and we'll be able to shut the valve and isolate Somerville's system from the interceptor. So all that pressure that's now holding the flow back, we will isolate, and then it'll divert over to this treatment plant, which is a physical process. We couldn't rely on a biological process for this plant, because it has to be something you can literally flip a switch and turn on. So what we're relying on here is screening, settling, and filtering, all physical processes. So you can literally turn a switch, water will flow there, it'll start operating immediately. And then after it's treated, discharge it to the Raritan River. Looks like you have a question.
I have like 5.
Okay.
Well, just to start, so I'm back on page 3, I'm slow. So basically you're saying this treatment plant will be east of Southside Park, I guess, or near there?
It would be, you see Southside Avenue?
Yes.
It would be just to the south of Southside Avenue and east of where that blue line comes down, the line.
So it almost be over here, over here, right?
Yeah, it would be just north of where that box
Whatever, okay.
is, yeah.
And then what are you gonna do with that stuff?
Treat it,
And then where's it go?
Raritan River after it's treated.
Then you're gonna put a pipe and just shoot it into the river?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And it's out of a floodplain or a flood zone.
The treatment plant would be out of the floodplain. In fact, we specifically located it so that it is outside of the floodplain. This is a lot of
And I'm
floodplain.
sure,
Because
I
that-
knew you guys had thought that.
No, because that all floods back, I know that, because even on 206 it floods, I mean, that cemetery floods.
The area
North of
both
this.
east and west of that blue line is in the floodplain. But as you go to the east, there's a plot of land that happens to be high and dry.
Okay, yeah,
About 10
So,
feet in
no, I know that
elevation
park, okay.
higher.
And then my other question is on, you had some water flows you showed on the 4 storms. And again, I'm just asking because I don't understand it. Like, one says, like, page 4, it says November 26, 27, 3.3 inches of rain, there was 10,000 gallons. And then another, it doesn't seem mathematically equivalent to other,
Great
you know what I'm
question.
saying? So if I got
Yes.
6.6, then I would think there'd be 20,000 gallons.
Great question. The antecedent conditions are key. So for example, if we got a 2-inch storm today after it's been dry for so
It's not
long,
gonna affect it as much.
it's not going to affect it the same as a 2-inch storm in March after it's been wet.
And wet, whatever it's.
So we had for instance, that November 2013, I don't have my glasses on. November was 13. 13. November 2013, there was 3.3 inches of rain. That just barely caused an overflow.
Okay.
Only 10,000 gallons.
It hadn't rained for about 4 months.
But then look at March of 2014, a
Right.
similar amount of rain,
No, right.
and we got a lot more overflow.
Yeah, the difference.
Now, in addition, that storm, SRVSA was having some issues at their treatment plant, so they couldn't take in as much of this mostly
Okay.
storm water.
Yeah, that was my question because of those numbers. I saw the asterisk where it said it was upset. Okay.
Okay.
How far down is it downstream from us? Because I know the river moves pretty fast from down on down. How far down is Petersbrook from us? It's far.
Not far.
Well, it depends on how you're looking.
It's
about Southbridge Street.
Maybe
You gotta
a
go
mile.
Southbridge
Yeah,
and turn onto
mile.
Southside Avenue and
Right.
just keep going straight
Yeah,
down.
I'd say maybe
There's
a
baseball
mile.
fields down there.
Yeah, as along the river, about a mile, thinking about our interceptor, about a mile downstream.
Yeah, because I think Somerville's municipal building's back there, right?
It's west of this
It used to be.
location, about 1,000 feet.
Might used to be. Yeah, past the cemetery.
So even though it's a mile downstream, if the sewage isn't properly treated, it could still affect us up here?
No, it would not.
There's so much flow going.
It should be, as I was gonna say, because it's a mile down,
Right.
and it would flow up here.
No, it would not affect you from a water.
Because it would have to be going against the
Yeah,
current.
it's going away from you.
And you would, in this situation, you'd have a flood, you'd have so many millions of gallons going down the Raritan River per second.
The issue, I mean, the reason, just to link this back, the reason we're here is because each of the municipalities within the service area are contributing to this interceptor becoming surcharged during well weather conditions. So what we're hoping to understand is what work Raritan is doing on inflow and infiltration repairs, and what you're proposing to do in the future, because as a condition of the work that we're doing, DEP is requiring us to work towards reducing I&I.
Actually, we've had quite a few discussions recently with Stan's guidance on I&I and measuring it. We're trying to get a mapping of I&I and trying to put together, with Stan's recommendation, a plan on it, because it is an issue.
That's great, because I don't think, well, I know the DEP doesn't recognize how much work the municipalities are individually doing. And it's important for us to be able to share that information with them. Because I think in their mind, everyone's just sitting around doing nothing, and that's not. We've been to many municipalities already within the service area. It's very clear to me, people are doing a lot of work in this area. DEP just doesn't recognize it. It's very important to us to be able to take this, your efforts and the efforts of others in the service area, and let DEP know what's going on.
So we could probably work something out with Stan on what we're doing and what our plans are.
Right.
Yeah, we want it to be an ongoing dialogue, so, the way Jim laid out with our proposed solution, and we're gonna move ahead with that construction, and we'll be giving you updates, and we'll be in touch with both Dan and Stan, but, we'd like to maintain a dialogue with all the municipalities, and from time to time, let DEP know what's going on in the service area, but bottom line is, if all of us let the systems just go, then the authority's just gotta keep building more and more, and, you guys own the authority, the Raritan Borough and the other 6 municipalities.
And we pay for the I&I.
Yeah.
So that's why we're looking to reduce that for the I&I.
I don't know, how much is this gonna cost us?
17?
No, 18 million, no, I know it says 18 million, but there's 3 municipalities that are affected. So that's why I asked that $6 million question.
It's more than 3.
So there's 7 municipalities that
Oh, no,
are
okay, yeah.
members
that's
of the
great.
authority,
Okay.
yeah, so the authority is looking to finance this and the impact to the rate, we're not certain at this point. There's some debt that we're retiring from an upgrade of the plant 18 years ago. The timing may work where, as that debt is retiring, we can bring on this new debt, maybe a year premature where we have both debt services, but we haven't laid that out yet because so much of the timing of this is critical and dependent upon DEP's approval. And we're working on getting all that lined up. Our next step is to get our permit to be allowed to discharge to the river, and it all takes time. So until we know those schedules, we won't go for the financing. But we're looking to finance this through the New Jersey Infrastructure Trust. So, but we'll keep you updated as, of course, our board members are updated monthly, and it's an ongoing dialogue. But certainly we welcome any questions, and we'd be happy to come back and give you updates from time to time.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, do you have any questions?
I've been following this, we've had discussions for a while also, but the council is very aware that every cubic foot of I&I is a cubic foot per meter. So, some hard facts now, they've appropriated monies that funds. For this winter, we're going to continue mapping some study, and we're going to put together our own long-term plan to reduce I&I. On short term, we just signed a grant with community development for some manhole repairs in areas that we know are having some problems too. So we've been moving ahead. We've been doing projects over the years. Seen some reductions, but when you look at the numbers and demonstrate how much is actually going down the drain that we're paying for, it's somewhat staggering.
If you could somehow share a summary of the work that you've done and the work that you're proposing to do, it would be very helpful.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And then,
Thanks for coming in.
Shared slides too.
Thank you very much.
thank you all.
All right, moving on, do you have anything to say, Dan? Moving on to engineers report. Dan?
All right, thanks. I don't have a written report. I'm just on vacation today, so
Yeah.
Good for you, good for you.
I'll summarize what I'm saying today. First item on the agenda, on my agenda actually, because Juan is here. If you recall at the last meeting, the mayor brought up the fact that there were electrical problems in the library. I brought in a sub-consultant with my firm, electrical engineer, who I do a lot of work with. We went and looked at it. It was almost Friday, probably the next day.
Ready.
The system, the electrical system is extremely old. It's been built, as you know, it's been built upon. There's many issues with it. Our recommendation is to just replace the panels that are there now, relocate them away from the electric corner like they're in here, and redesign the system. There's costs involved in the redesign. I think there's going to be a discussion between who's responsible for that. The library, the borough, is the borough's building, the library's using it. That's your concern, not mine. But the fee we proposed for the redesign of the system is $5,000.
How much?
$5,000. That will include my work along with the sub-consultants. And the rebate, that money's not available now, it has to be appropriated somehow. That's a discussion we're going to have now. We investigate and we believe that the solution is to redesign that now. And I would recommend that we relocate the sub-panel here also for the issue, which is going to be required.
Is that $5,000 include the sub-panel?
No, it's design specifications.
What would be the additional cost for the sub-panel?
I don't know that close, but I would think upwards of $25,000.
So we're talking $30,000?
Possibly, I'm not going to answer that. The total amount.
So you'd be rewiring basically the whole library?
But right now, we have to do the design investigation and come up with the appropriate cost. I don't have all the costs now, that's
But the 5,000 needs to be done right now. Dan, we don't have anything in buildings.
No, I was thinking about maybe capital improvement fund. I'll explore that with
Or are you gonna have a discussion about whether it's us that are gonna pay for that, or the library's gonna pay for that? They have capital funds.
Excuse me, read your contract that you made me sign. You pay for it. It's capital. I gotta interrupt with one thing though. We've replaced 2 burned wires, and we showed them to Mr. Lavelle. In the last month, we replaced 2 burned wires. For some reason, the ground system, we're getting 12 volts through it and refusing wires together. We have an unhealthy situation here, and it's something that I don't think should be delayed till next year's budget. There's items there that are not even up to code. Stan saw that too, with his engineer. The situation is, it appears to be, since we're having these ground problems in the main breaker panel, we're getting all this voltage back. We take the cover off, sparks fly. Like I said, in the last 6 weeks, we replaced 2 wires. I mean, they got hot enough you can't put your hand around them. To me, this is an unsafe situation.
Well, I think you've had a lot of work, electrical work done down there. Nobody noticed that there were inadequate boxes and wiring and all this stuff. You had
Nobody noticed the big
HVAC
addition?
work and all kinds of stuff. No one noticed all of these
We did
huge
the
problems.
electrical work.
Did you put in air conditioners and stuff? Don't they run on electricity?
The wires are already there. You throw a breaker, the wire's already there. That
Well,
guy's
it's in a breaker box. You said it's...
No, they didn't go into the panel. They didn't go to the main panel. They've got to disconnect that right at the. You have one in your house too, right outside. You have to have one. It's the law. The thing about it is, you have an unsafe situation, and his engineer agreed with that. It's not safe correct? I'm not saying dire emergency, but it's not safe the way it is.
Well, I agree, I think it does need to be addressed
Well,
sooner
let's
than
let
later.
him, is it safe or unsafe?
I'm not gonna say that. It's an old system that needs improvement. It's been built upon, I don't know if it was permitted when it was done, but it's in an area where it should be located.
Other issues have arisen in the northwest corner that it's in, there's water coming in the window there. And that's right above all the panels, there's 3 phases coming in there. You're talking wires this big coming into there. It's also located next to the fire alarm system, the fire
Yeah.
sprinkler system, which is apparently not.
It's supposed to be 30 inches away, it's 6 inches away.
So I mean, there's issues
code.
that need to be.
And it's got a approval sticker on it. From 70, whatever.
November 1st, we can do budget transfers, but I'll explore with Karen. I have mentioned it to her because Ron has spoken to me. I mentioned it to Karen, you know, with so many things going on with Labor Day, but whether or not, you know, we're talking about $5,000. If, you know, and I don't, it's an independent question of who wants to pay for it, but I think we could have money in capital improvement fund to appropriate as a preliminary expense for the design.
Well, I don't think-
I'll investigate that tomorrow.
But I don't think we can wait on the design portion of this till November.
I don't either.
No, I know, but I
We need to
throw
get
that
ahead
out,
of-
and I throw that out because I know the question was asked of whether we have the public buildings account, and I think coincidentally I'd spoken to you, Greg, about how much we've spent on that. That's why I would prefer to do this as a preliminary capital expense.
How much have we spent on that?
Oh,
You talked to Greg about
you're
it.
talking about, you know, you're getting to close to 60, over 60% of the budget easily, 70% of the total amount. We've had some large expenses. So, yes, I could take it out of that, but I would prefer to take it out as a preliminary capital expense if we can do that, and if the council's agreeable.
I think, can we agree that we need to get the design phase started on this?
Absolutely.
I agree. I agree. I think we need to.
And can we give Van Cleef permission to start that?
I can proceed with the work anticipating the funds will eventually be in place. No problem in
I'm concerned with wires arcing like that. I mean, I don't want to see something happen over there. I mean, I would like to authorize the 5,000. I don't want to see anything happen over there.
That's not gonna take care of any sparking.
But it's
That's
getting
paper-
ahead of the game.
It's paperwork.
We're behind the game.
We're behind it right now, we gotta start catching up to it, and I think giving
On the
Stan
screen with you.
permission, let's do that. All right, good?
Do we need to make a motion on that, Rich?
No, I think a consensus from the council that stands to proceed.
Okay.
Okay, anything else on that, Stan, your report?
there. No, that's, let me continue. The good news, I think you know, is that Johnson Drive's completed.
Very good job, by the way.
Nice
job.
Great job.
Service is beautiful.
Let me, I'd like to give credit where it's due though, and that's to Rich and his firm. The settlement on this case it worked out very well for the borough. The simple solution for the bonding company was just to pay us what was available in the bond, but the bond was for. Rich and his firm negotiated a completion of the project, which is totally different. There's a lot more dollars involved from the bonding company to complete that work. And, it took a bit of time, but it all worked out well.
Yeah.
Secondly, or thirdly rather, Victoria Street in Southwick is completed. We're in receipt now of the maintenance bond, so we're going to do one payment on that to the contractor at the next council meeting. And Maggie helped us get minutes for the scoping hearing very quickly. That was sent down to Green Acres, and we're working with Green Acres now to resolve any issues. That's my report. I'll put it in writing for the record.
All right, Dan, quarterly borough electronics recycling?
Yes, Mayor, I sent this to the council, but just make you aware of the fact that Somerset County is changing electronic waste recycling to either Hillsborough on Saturday drop-offs or on weekdays to Bridgewater and Hillsborough. It used to be New Tech in Franklin, and that's the company we use for our quarterly. in-town recycling. So, New Tech has informed us they will not change anything and allow us to go through with our October recycling, but then they don't know about next year. So there's going to be a question, and Rich, we never got to talk about this, it was late last week, as to whether or not this would be a concession issue, or whether we could just piggyback on the new recycling firm that the county unexpectedly is using. I want the council to be aware of it. There's nothing for you to decide, but there's going to be some issues worked out for next year's quarterly recycling. It's, you know.
Well, we brought the electronic recycling into town because it was far away, and we were trying to make it convenient for our residents. The borough was also, we received money back because of the tonnage. So we were trying to make it convenient. We allowed anybody from out of town, businesses to bring it in. So it was a benefit. It was a win-win for our residents all the way around. So any company that we are even remotely looking at, it would have to be a win-win for our community.
I hear you. My concern is this has have to be a concession situation where the person who is, it was easy when.
They didn't charge us to come in here, so.
I know that, but again, there's always the question, as I think has been brought up before, about the concession idea. Just because you say we're not going to charge you anything doesn't mean that you don't have to go through some type of bidding, because somebody could say, we will pay you in order to have the right to put in a pad and get recycling because we can make money off of it. I think these questions will be resolved. The one option, and I'm not trying to be confrontational at all when I say this, one is to say now that people can bring their electronic recycling, and you brought up a good point about the fact that we get credit, but now that people can bring it to Hillsborough and Bridgewater,
then those
even weekdays, that you can always consider not having the quarter.
But at the same time, then Hillsborough, and with all due respect, then Hillsborough and Bridgewater are getting those credits, and Raritan is missing out on those credits.
I don't know how that works with the county. I'm not.
Then the county's getting those credits?
The county, I would think,
Oh,
might
okay.
get the credit because
It's
on
something,
there.
it's something that I think the county, let's see what these concessions are going to, let's see what these other companies are going to do, because why would Raritan want to lose out on the credits? It's not costing us anything, it's a convenience to our community, and we are receiving credits, we're getting money back for this. It's
One
not-
thing I could push is for the new recycling company to provide what New Tech has, and then say essentially we're an extension of the county, but I just want to make sure, so let's leave it.
We want to make sure that it continues to be a win-win for us, period. That's how, I mean, right now, this is a perfect situation for our town. Our seniors, it's convenient for them. Nobody has to leave the town. I mean, this is a very good situation for Raritan right now. If we can maintain this situation, there's no need to change it. This is working, businesses are utilizing it.
I understand, I'm merely saying that it's changed because the company that was providing it no longer is, and they're no longer the county bid recycling, and that's what we have to work out. And I understand exactly.
Well, I don't want to lose it because the residents I've talked to.
They love it.
They love the convenience.
Absolutely.
And it's every
It's a
3
perfect-
months, but
it's a
it's the
perfect
convenience
situation.
right here in town.
Correct.
Well, if worse comes to worse, I mean, if worse comes to worse and you can't find somebody, we could always just, we do some of the town guys take it towards Fort Road.
But then we lose,
To Hillsborough.
But-
No, listen, I get that, I'm saying
Yeah.
if you can't get one, I'm not disagreeing with anyone.
You had that option too,
You're talking about
I mean, you have a
convenience.
number of options.
No, yeah, all right.
but you know what though, then the bottom line too is that it's costing us, then it becomes an expense on us, because then we have to pay our
I'm not
guys.
I'm saying if we can't find something. I'm
Yeah,
not disagreeing.
we're trying to maintain.
I mean,
this
there's
as a
also the
win-win.
option of having the new company simply replicate
I get, no, listen,
what New Tech has
I get it.
done, and that is another possibility.
No, I get it, but you might not be able to find something that's doing the same thing, that's what I'm saying.
I'm sure there's going to be a company that will maintain what we are currently getting.
All right, anything else on that topic? Okay, let's move on. Pod storage units, this was Mayor Lintack's item. Do you have anything on it that we should discuss, or should we move on to the next?
I can help on that. We were reconstructing, doing work on the south Victoria sidewalks. There was one of those pods. someone's driveway, this place actually didn't this way, they had to move. So we continue our work, very difficult time having to recess the group. Yes, and maybe it wasn't required that simply says for the project.
Is it really that big of an issue? I mean,
It was getting it moved, yes. In this case, it was.
There was a one in-
Got to the point where we told the pod company it's going to tow. And the pod company said, well, you're responsible for anything that's inside of it. Eventually, we got the owner worked out, but it was too big to delay on it.
So I think the issue is still gonna happen if we have an ordinance or not.
Well, the ordinance is there, it might protect us if we do that.
Dan, didn't we have this discussion before about time limit? I remember way back, we were talking about.
We did. I think it hasn't, very often these things come and go in a day or two.
I know there was a fire at that house.
Yeah, it's fire in the
Yeah.
hall.
But it's been there a long time.
Yeah.
But we called the pod company to have, that was right on there, we were not responsible to us, municipal official, got the police involved, we still weren't responsible, although the chief really said he wanted to put over. But the pod company came back and would be responsible for the contents if there was any damage. Because their pod was on our road, so we had issues. There's an ordinance that doesn't like protect us.
Are there other towns that have
Right, but I
that?
think to the council president's point, you gotta talk to Frank and find out whether this is really a systemic endemic issue or it's an isolated event before you go wholesale be doing your zoning
Do
ordinance.
you know if other towns have that?
I don't know. I'm sure some towns have to deal with that.
How frequently does something like this
It's come up,
actually come up?
there's a warrant and ordinance.
Yeah, right, but that's the reason it was on the agenda, the mayor was aware.
I'm gonna have a conference with Frank, a discussion with him, see how many pods are in that.
Yeah.
Well, Lou was pretty familiar with the issue. And he said that they're usually not long and they're controlled.
I say we
Not a
just leave it
problem,
alone.
that's what he,
I think we just leave the issue alone.
I haven't seen too many
I
of
haven't
them
seen.
town, personally.
I know that was
Yeah,
the
ask
marijuana.
Lou and Frank and see what they say.
And we'll find out what they have to say. Go back to it if we need to. Recycling project, expired dog and cat tax.
Yes, yes, I put an explanation in your packet, explaining that a student had come into the borough asking to place a small jug on the counter for expired dog and cat tax when the license was hardly new. It would be a small jug, he's going to come and pick up his tags, take them to the recycling center, get a small donation, I'm sure he can pick his tags, and then he's going to turn it over to the Somerset Animal Shelter. Council's agreeable to that. The only thing I want you to know is that Raritan does not belong to the Somerset Regional Animal Shelter.
Doesn't matter.
No, that's not an issue? No problem.
Good idea.
I want to raise.
Is it right next to him? Is he right next to him?
Eagle Scout, I think?
He
That
is
sounds
in
like Eagle
Bridgewater.
Scout.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he doesn't Bridgewater. I'm sure he's at.
They're doing all the towns.
Oh, he goes, yes, he's doing several towns, about 8 of them.
It's a
I
good
see
idea.
Dan has a comment.
Yeah, I just, my concern is going, and this has been brought up before, with websites, with other activities, the use of the basement, for example, of whether nonprofit groups should be in some way interacting with the governmental functions that we have. And if the Somerset Regional Animal Shelter was the county facility, or even a county endorsed facility, to me, I would have something different. There are towns that participate voluntarily. It's not the county animal shelter at all. And I think you could be opening up a door to saying that nonprofits, that people, the borough is integrating with it. A lot of times we might have abused women or something like that, and the county is involved. so the borough gets involved.
I thought,
The hospital might have a blood drive. Well, okay, a blood drive, there's nothing wrong with the borough saying, hey, there's a blood drive, we'll let people know
why
that.
don't we find out why he's doing this? I think it has to do with maybe an Eagle Scout project or something like that.
I did ask him that, I don't believe he's an Eagle Scout, no. The reason he's doing it is he volunteers at this animal shelter, and he just thought of this idea to try to raise money, and instead of throwing those aluminum tags in the trash. It's like a recycling thing.
It's a good idea.
It's,
But there are so many nonprofits, you're just opening the
But I don't-
door to people
I don't
who
know what you're saying, Dan.
want to have an activity to raise money for their
But-
worthy
yeah,
and
yeah,
good
yeah.
nonprofit, and I
Well, we
just think-
do bring one, well, that's a county thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would just point out the only difference in this situation is you're not soliciting money, the people are coming in and they're exchanging their dog tag license or their cat license. It's there, they have it in hand, and if they wanna put it in the donation bin, they can do that. You're not actively soliciting money for the charity, you're not on a charity to set
But
up.
he is making money and he is raising it for that, and so that many people are fundraising who are nonprofit, who are not directly related with our government, and I just think it should be avoided as best as possible. It's not a perfect, you can't perfectly delineate it,
It's a
but
good
as much as
idea.
you can.
I don't have a problem with it.
I don't really technically think he's fundraising, I think he's trying to recycle these tags.
Yeah, I'm-
Dan,
I
we're
get you. I appreciate
conscious
it. I get what you're saying, I do.
It's a
I'll
good
give it to the
idea.
kid. Okay, he's
not
doing
gonna
the
hurt
right thing.
anyone.
Dan, we're viewing it environmentally, so that's how we're
He's
going.
doing the right thing, come on.
You're killing this thing.
We're going green,
The guy's
Dan.
trying to do something decent,
Doing the right
don't
thing.
kill it.
I don't know who brings their tags back though. That's gonna be,
If it
That's
doesn't,
his issue.
we'll end
That's
quick,
his issue.
we'll end
When we
quick.
advertise, he asked that somehow I let the residents know. So when we advertise on the website that a dog license and cat license are due, I would put a little blurb at the bottom saying, if you would like to bring your tag in to be recycled, we will collect them in the borough.
Okay, good
That's
job.
it.
Good job.
Okay?
Good.
It's a 1-inch tag.
yeah.
I think he might have more luck by having a donation bucket than the money he's gonna get from
A
recycling.
change cup probably.
He's trying to do something decent.
That's great.
That's all.
Good job.
Okay, thank you, I'll let him know. Thank you.
Okay, 6th line in First Grove Plaza, we discussed that, do we need to discuss that again?
I don't think so.
Special event permit, Nick's Raritan Pub. Paul.
Yeah, I had a conversation with the people down there, and they would like on the day of the Basilone Parade, they want to do it properly and get a permit, not just do it. They want to sell some food out in front of their place, contiguous with the front of their building, doesn't interfere with foot traffic. They have a new place, they're trying to establish a business, it's good business relations. They're gonna do all the cooking inside, no alcohol outside. They're just basically gonna have some hamburgers and stuff, so they start building up their business a little bit. I thought it's a great idea, and maybe some of the other places ought to do it, you know, a little something extra for the parade. But they would like a 24-hour permit for the Basilone Parade to serve food.
I have no problem with that.
Oh, yeah, I think it's a good idea.
How do we get a permit?
Do they need a permit?
Well,
Because they have a permit.
they have a food establishment permit.
So they don't need anything in
So
writing?
it would be really an extension of their current food establishment
So
permit.
who's
Since
going to do that?
all council has to do is basically make a motion to agree that they have this one-day permit. Since they already have a food handler's license, they don't need anything else from the
Okay,
county.
I need a
As long
motion.
as they keep it
So moved.
contiguous to their building. Okay, they have
It's contiguous and it's not in the footpath.
But it's council's decision to allow it outside on the street,
Right.
okay?
So we need a motion to
Well,
approve
it's on the
Nick's
street, but it's
Restaurant.
Well, it's not
contiguous to
on the
their
street.
building,
It has
it's
to
not
be- it has to
interfering
be-
with the traffic.
I think
It
it's driveway.
has to be butted up against their building.
Yeah, it will be.
Not on the street.
It will be,
Butted up
at the end of the ramp on that side.
Councilman Garrett has a motion.
A second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Kara?
Yes.
Councilman Fooey?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gara?
Yes.
Councilman Girold?
Yes.
Mayor LaBelle?
Aye.
Councilman Sebelia?
Yes.
All right, ordinance second reading, this is going to be tabled until the 13th of October.
Yes.
So we need a motion.
So we need a motion, then, is there a motion to table this?
Wait, this is the precious metals?
Of November.
Yeah,
Why are we tabling?
Why are we tabling it?
we're not ready to discuss it.
Why don't you leave the table?
I thought,
This is like ridiculous.
He's on the table. It just has to be on the agenda every,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Paul's made some good comments on the ordinance. If anybody else would like to put some stuff together, then we can then have the conversation. But I have not talked to people that I want to.
Unfortunately, you're
Right.
tabling
I
it.
think it should stay on the table. No action stays on the table.
So you just leave it on the table until you're ready to act on it.
Council knows where I stand.
Whatever y'all do.
Not a problem.
I'm in favor with this, I'm in favor of this.
You're in favor of it?
Yes, I am.
I am too, with
I'm
limitations.
On the limitations as
I'll
well.
be here.
But we're not
On
discussing
the
it.
limitations too.
Well, I guess that maybe we need to put together, we're discussing it, but put together a committee or something to go over what is in the current ordinance, because.
Greg, we don't need a committee, we all read the ordinance. You know,
I-
you and I just discussed it, we know what businesses are
Did
affected.
everybody
We just need to have a
review?
conversation about it.
Did everyone?
The only reason we tabled it in the first place was because
I
Greg
know.
had objections
Did
and he wasn't
everyone
here.
He was on
review,
vacation.
did everyone review with the chief of police, what I had the chief
Yeah,
of
the
police put
letter.
together?
No, I read the letter, some of it doesn't make any sense. No, quite honestly, you know, he's talking about business, but he's looking at it from a law enforcement perspective. We're looking at it from a business perspective. There's two views.
Yes, there are.
And I think, I agree with some of it in there, some of it I don't. We need to have an open discussion, which we were waiting for Greg to come back, because Greg was vehemently against it.
I would
I
very
still-
And he
much.
came back and it's still sitting tabled. I
Okay,
mean,
can
it's
I
been a long
ask
time.
then, I would respectfully ask then that it is tabled to the next council meeting, the end of September,
Well, I'm not gonna be here for that meeting.
because I will not be here for the October 13th meeting.
Whatever y'all work out, I thought we were gonna discuss it tonight.
Can we
I
discuss
agree.
it tonight then? Can we discuss it tonight?
Yeah, I don't know, me.
Well, Greg wants to talk to some business
Oh.
people.
I wanted to talk to.
I understand the
Maybe the
rationale
two
for that.
businesses and give them an opportunity to come in here and voice their opinions on it.
I mean, it does affect them,
And I
Yeah.
respect that.
so maybe we'll just have to push it back until everybody's
But I
here.
think, well, I don't think it should just be for those two businesses.
I don't either.
Well,
It affects
it should
others.
it's only gonna
Yeah.
affect the people it affects, and there's only a couple businesses in town that it will. The rest of it really doesn't play into it. I mean, there's nobody, you know, taking in used typewriters and
Well, there
handing
are
out
other people
checks. I
taking
mean,
in
it's
used
not.
phones, there are other
And
people taking in
iPads,
used phones.
iPads, computers, yes,
Yes, there are.
without a doubt.
Who?
Are you kidding me?
They're taking in used phones right up at the circle.
iPhone, you turn in an iPhone, a used iPhone, you get $400.
Absolutely.
Where?
The circle.
Go online. You go anywhere.
Online, so we're gonna.
You get,
No,
you
no,
get,
Wait,
you get
wait,
from the thing too.
We're gonna monitor
No,
online?
No, you're not gonna mount it on
Yeah.
I'm just telling you right now, you could sell, you got an iPhone, I can sell it right now.
To who?
I can sell it to anybody.
No, but that way, let's not.
That's not what we're talking
No,
about.
but I could sell it to
We're
AT&T,
talking
but I
about-
sells refurb
Oh, yeah.
phones.
We're talking about a
AT&T.
business.
You got a Verizon coming on,
Hey,
Summer Street?
Andy, calm down. We're talking
I
about
am
a
calm.
business. If I sell her my iPhone, that's
different.
not part of
No,
it.
no, I'm not disagreeing, but you sell your phone back to AT&T.
You can't sell your phone back, they give you credit, you have to get a new
No, you
phone.
get a refurbished.
That-
That's.
You can take it to the AT&T
You
store,
wanna
they
call it a
don't give
credit,
you
you
a
wanna
$20
call
bill for
payment,
your
you're getting
phone.
payment towards your new phone.
Andy, I just went to Verizon to turn a phone in, you get a credit on the new one. They don't hand you a $20 bill. They're not getting any money. It's not a pawn shop.
They hand you prepaid credit cards.
Oh, stop it. That's not what we're talking about. We're gonna go after AT&T and Verizon.
AT&T's a $180 billion company.
Oh, yeah, let's fingerprint the CEO.
I think we tabled this.
Oh, wait a minute, you got a better chance of tracking that iPhone than you
I'll
Do
tell
we
you,
want to discuss this
I-
and untable it, or do we want to?
real quick point. This law was designed, and I know I talked to people in Trenton, for jewelry stores because they take in gold,
Correct.
silver, jewelry.
Correct.
And they're basically uncontrolled and they're not pawn shops. So they don't fall under the pawn shop regulations. I know, I regulate them in the state. The truth is, that's what it was designed for. Somebody decided to throw everything but the kitchen sink in here, which I think is Greg's problem and my problem. So the jewelry shops and the gold and the silver makes a lot of sense. Typewriters and tubas and used clothing really don't make a lot of sense. That's what we were going to discuss. But it does have a place, but I don't think it's too far ranging, is my problem.
But I still think you should put electronics in there.
I do too.
Huh?
Electronics.
Oh,
Not this
there's
other
everything in
stuff, no
here.
toothpaste.
There's
I know.
hardware equipment, there's fishing poles, there's typewriters,
Yeah,
tubas,
there are things that do
clothing,
need to be
there's everything,
excluded
which
from
doesn't
this.
affect most of our businesses anyway. So, but if you want to push it back so we have a discussion with the business people, it would affect, that makes sense. Right?
All right, let's shoot for the 13th. We know your stance is pretty firm.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So let's have a conversation on the 13th, and we'll go from there.
You know, perhaps Mr. Winter will do what we did last time. I can contribute via phone.
All right, where were we?
You know, the yellow phone.
All right, authorizing resolution number 2015-09-105, authorizing 2015 Community Development Grant Agreement for sanitary sewer rehabilitation on Old York Road, Orlando Drive, and Canal Street.
Make that motion?
One second.
Roll call?
Councilwoman Karen?
Yes.
Councilman Fooey?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Giraldi?
Yes.
Mayor LaBelle?
Aye.
Councilman Sebelia?
Yes.
Okay, resolution number 2015-09-106, renewal of 2015-2016 liquor license, 65 Asante LLC, Royal Order of Raritan Moose, Lodge number 1965.
Make that motion?
Second.
Councilwoman Karen?
Yes.
Councilman Fooey?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Giraldi?
Yes.
Mayor LaBelle?
Aye.
Councilman Sebelia?
Yes.
Can we approve these purchase orders all in one, if I read it all in one? They're all fire department?
We could do it in total.
You can, you know, the council at times has wanted to do things collectively, then they go back. If you do it collectively, you can, if a council person wants to do something singularly, they can pull it. But if you feel comfortable,
Well, the time I was thinking of saving, we just lost on that, so why don't we just read them all?
You know, and the council has changed its mind over the years. That's part of the problem.
Being that
I think
they're all-
you can.
Being that all these purchase orders are for the fire department, we're going to go all at once. Okay, so we'd like to get approval on purchase order for the fire department for purchase of software, FH web hosting, firehouse software in the amount of $1,899. Purchase order number 2, fire department firefighter equipment, New Jersey Fire Equipment Company in the amount of $2,301.82. Fire department firefighter equipment, Centennial Fire and Safety Incorporated in the amount of $4,775.50. And lastly, firefighting equipment, emergency equipment sales in the amount of $2,750.05.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Certification of funds attached to all of them.
Councilwoman Karen?
Yes.
Councilman Fooey?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Giraldi?
Can I throw something in quick? Can we have the representative of the fire department come next meeting and talk about the fire truck that we're supposed to buy? All right? Yes, I vote yes.
All right, I'm sorry, I'll make the
We
comment.
don't know what's going on.
Aye.
Mayor LaBelle
Aye.
and Councilman Sebelia.
Yes.
My understanding is that fire chief is having a meeting tonight to review specs, state contract specs
Can
on
you
it.
come to the next meeting and explain
I'll
all of
have
it?
a,
What's going on?
hold on.
All right, yeah, please, vote.
Any correspondence?
I have one thing I'd like to say. I would like to thank Dan and his staff for that AA+ credit rating. Right? That's what our town gets, which is beneficial to
Excellent.
everyone in the town by more credit, lower rates. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Very
you.
good.
Karen
Very good job.
Easy, to the
Thank you,
auditor,
Maggie.
Glenn Stein.
Yeah, all those people, I mean, everybody.
Thank you.
Did a good job. Thank you.
Good team effort. All right, any public comments? Seeing no one? Make a motion for adjournment?
I'll have public comment.
Yeah, just one thing, I don't have an engineer's report at the next meeting, but I would like to discuss the DOT grant for next year. They are moving up already. They may be before our next meeting, so that's a discussion.
We'll put that on the agenda. All right. Adjournment? Motion?
Second.
Councilwoman Karen,
Yes.
Councilman Fooey.
Yes.
Councilwoman Garrett.
Yes.
Councilman Geraldo.
Yes.
Mayor LaBelle.
Aye.
Councilman Sebelia.
Yes.